We have a very special guest, my beautiful younger sister, Rachel. Woo!
Jessie, growing up, when I looked at you, I saw you as really adventurous, outdoorsy, and quite tomboy. Whereas like now, like you're really like, Rachel, your hair looks bad like that. And I'm just like, oh, she's like, you need to like wear this. We go out to meet the sheep, and then this ram starts like approaching me, and I'm like, what type of farm are you running? Because that thing looks like a
That thing was
mutation.
henge. He was actually henge. If I met you in Australia, this would never have passed, this relationship, by the way. She would have been straight on to y'all.
No, that's not true. Jessie has had a peck of the younger ones that are like been my age.
Rachel.
But hey, I go upwards too.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the podcast hosted by myself, Will Young, and one of my favourite Aussies ever.
And today on the podcast, we are talking all things juicy.
Hey, that's my line. I'm his favourite Aussie.
Guys, we practiced that 10 times and that's how it turned out.
But welcome back to the podcast hosted by myself and Farmer Will. And today on the podcast, we have a very special guest, my beautiful younger sister, Rachel. Woo!
Hi guys.
Okay, so...
Hi guys, thanks for having me on here. I'm going to pretend that we have not spent the past week together. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously Jessie's just introed it. Rachel is Jessie's younger sister. But for anyone who doesn't know, doesn't follow our socials and just listens or watches the pod, give us a brief description about yourself. Let us know, let the audience know a little
Okay,
bit
so
about you.
I am Jessie's younger sibling. I'm 3 years younger.
Okay, guys, it's really fucked up. Rachel and Will were the same age.
We're both born in 1999
Yeah,
and
that's
we are
so weird.
proud of that.
Yeah, you're lucky I'm not a 2000 baby.
If I met you in Australia, this would never have passed, this relationship, by the way. She would have been straight on to y'all.
No, that's not true. Jessie has had a peck of the younger ones that are like been my age.
Rachel.
But hey, I go upwards too.
Okay, do you want to intro yourself?
Next
Okay,
topic.
yeah, so I'm Jessie's younger sister, so I'm not sure if you guys know, but there are 5 siblings within our family and we all come from the same mum and dad who are still together today.
A lot of people actually always ask me or make sly comments about our parents being separated all the
Yeah,
time.
it's
People
pretty-
saying your dad married a younger woman. That's how I have a 4-year-old sister.
It's pretty interesting. So the pecking order goes Jessie, she is 28, 29.
28.
And then
Bridging 30.
I'm 25, so both female. So we've got a female older sister. Then there's me. Then we've got Brock, who is 25.
He's not 25. He's 24.
Oh.
Honey.
He's 24.
Okay, yeah, he's
The
24.
older you make them, the older I seem.
And then we have Oscar, who's 17. And then we
16 at the moment.
She's
She's rounding it up to make me so
Okay, and then we've got beautiful young Stella, who's actually 4, but she's turning 5 in like 1 week.
Okay, so everyone that I speak to or online think Jessie and Rachel sound the same. And I actually never thought about it. I was like, oh, I don't think they have because I speak to them kind of like face to face. And you know, when you like look at someone, they don't sound the same as someone else. But then I saw a video of you two not watching the screen and you actually do sound very similar.
So when we were kids, we had so much fun with this. I don't know if we sound as alike now because obviously I live in England and apparently I've got an English twang. But when we were
And I've got
growing
an
up,
Aussie twang.
I take that proudly. I love the English twang. But half the time I'm being sarcastic when I put like a joking English accent on.
I think it's a
Anyhow.
really big thing in Australia, just detouring for a bit. It's a really big thing in Australia, or maybe just for me and the culture that I grew up in, to use accents.
We love the English
Like
accent.
I always use a little bit of
love
a
it.
UK accent, or if I want to go American, I go American.
That's what I noticed coming to Australia. Everyone does do an English accent.
Yeah, but sometimes I do it on my TikTok and people will be like, oh, you actually sound like, you've never sound so English. I'm like, guys, I've been using this accent my
Okay,
whole
you
life.
two do your both best English accent and I'll be the judge here.
Which accent? Because there's lots of different.
Well, just your best one.
I'm going to do like thinking back to like Escape to the Country vibes.
Okay, yeah.
And as you see here, we have a 3-bedroom terrace, a semi-detached terrace with so much potential.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad.
So the reason Jessie's referenced Escape to the Country is because growing up, we watched a lot of Escape to the Country or location, or
love
relocation,
that
relocation. When we were growing up. So I feel like being over in the UK, I'm like, wow, I'm actually seeing all these houses that were
Seeing
actually
the potential.
I was looking at the houses that I was always watching when I was a kid. So Jessie brings that up. I don't know if I have a UK accent. It's more on the fly. I have to be in the mood.
You've done it quite a few times since being
Yeah.
here. There's also the kind of posh, today we're going to Battersea and we're going to have a few beverages afterwards.
I have not heard one
Pints.
person ever in a conversation go to me, let's go to Battersea and have a couple of beverages.
That's how Australians think that you guys
Beveraginos.
are.
I'm really
You
hot.
kind of look like you suit that accent though, with like the slick back hair.
Okay, guys, for anyone, if you're watching, Rachel is fanning herself. It is 30 degrees 31 degrees in London today, and we're all boiling. And for some
It's really
reason,
hot.
I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. We went out for lunch.
We're
I'm
doing
not-
it. We're wearing jeans and a t-shirt for the pod though.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
oh my God. So when I did my birthday pod a few months ago, I wore shorts and I watched that video back and oh my God, I was like, is that what I really look like with shorts?
But anywho, it's really hot in London.
We learned, but we're learning another lesson that it's really hot.
It is
Yeah.
really hot. I can't
know.
believe how hot it is in
UK
London.
does have hot weather.
Yeah.
But back to yo toe. I think everyone is dying to know about the relationship forming younger. How was growing up?
Yeah, growing up was good.
I think we had a great childhood. Like literally, I don't know if y'all can tell. I love my family so much and I feel like I'm so close to my family.
You do have a really. That's what when the first time I came to Australia and met the family, I was a little bit nervous, but that was one of the first things that I noticed how close everyone was, how the bond and how close, like even Nanan coming across, like the whole family are just very interconnected and it's just really lovely and beautiful.
And I think growing up being so close to your family, you almost take it for advantage. You don't advantage.
Jessie's pissed as well, by the way. She had a couple of drinks before coming in. That's
Okay,
why
guys,
she's slurring.
listen, hear me out. Yeah, I had a couple of drinks. I had 3. But these were jumbo drinks. Like I ordered an Aperol Spritz. Mate, I've got a photo of it because that was bigger than my head. It was like that big. Back in the day, we would call that like a fish bowl. I don't know if you guys have that. When you
Yeah,
go
we have
out and
fish
you
bowls.
order a fish bowl. That's what I felt like I was ordering. Mate, bang for your buck because 14 quid for a fish bowl Aperol pretty much.
Delicious.
It's really hot as well, so it's going to my head. But anywho, what were we saying?
Yeah, so growing up, like
yeah.
Jessie was the older sister, I was the younger sister. It's just the classic,
That's
like,
the way it's going to be, little darling.
But it's just like the classic sibling relationship. Although I say something that's probably quite unique about us, and I know that other people go through it as well. We did share a room. I was on the bottom bunk. Jessie was on the top bunk.
How was that decide then? Who wanted? Did you both kind
Well,
of like?
actually, you know, this
How
is
did I
hold
get
on,
the top
Hold on,
bunk?
let's take it back. Let's take it back for a second. So before I was born, Jessie had her room to herself.
Yeah.
And then came Rachel. And Rachel was like, hey, I demand attention. Hey, I need some space in here. So I feel like Jessie had to give a piece of her pie to me. So that could have
I
been
had to
a
give
bit
you the
of-
whole pack. No, kidding.
That could have been a tad invasive. Like I imagine like you've got your own little space.
No, I was so excited because
Now
I
I
had to
start getting
go
excited
3
about
years
them.
on this planet with no other children.
Yeah,
to hang
Jessie
out
really
with.
did like me.
I was like so excited to have a younger
Yeah.
sibling. I don't even know like if I'm just dreaming this, but I swear to God, I remember being so excited
I
for
reckon
Rachel
Jessie
to be born.
manifested me.
Yeah, mate, I was so excited. To
I
have a
was
little sister.
dribbling when I was 3 years old. I could not tell you what I was
Yeah,
doing. when I
this
was
is
3.
what blows my mind. When I asked Will about his childhood, he's like, I can't remember being 3 years old. And I'm like,
I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with
I've got
that.
very vivid memory. But I do remember, Rachel,
Yeah.
when you were a baby, like newborn baby, you would cry and like when you would start crying.
That's such a crime.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but like-
Naughty Rachel.
in my head, I was like 3 years old going over to cuddle you, and then you'd start crying. So I always felt like you didn't like me. And then mum and dad would be like, don't touch the baby to me. And then I would like be like, oh
Yeah,
my
they
God.
just know this is probably what happened, and I don't know because I'm not going back to this nap. But mum and dad probably just tried so hard to get me to sleep.
Yeah.
I started napping. Finally, Rachel's asleep. She's resting peacefully. She's growing. She's doing all the things that she needs to do as a young little 1-year-old.
And
And then
I was
Jessie
like,
comes over because
the
she's
baby's
bored,
crying.
and then she wakes me up, and mum and dad are like, Jessie. That's probably what you're talking about.
Oh, they thought we were sweet though, the sweetest
Yeah.
of sisters. We actually were, and there's 3 years apart from us, but I do think we're so close. And as much as we like to say we're very different,
Yeah.
our interests are different, our careers are different, but I do think we're very alike, and we
I
don't
think
even
we've
see
definitely
it.
got like similar values and like beliefs and like growing up in the same.
I think there's
like,
a lot more than that. I think we're very
grew-
similar.
We grew up in a very like small town community, so it's just like the good old small town community vibes where everyone kind of knows each other and we all help support each other as you grow and get older.
But yeah.
But I would say that like growing up, like, you know, Jessie's 3 years older than me, we kind of grew up as 3 kids, and then came Oscar and Stella, of course. So I feel like I definitely grew up as the middle child, and I'm proud of that.
Rachel is
middle
100%
child
the middle
vibes.
child. Like, I still call you the middle child. And
Yeah,
sometimes
well,
if me and Rachel
really.
are arguing, I'd be like, "Ugh, middle child energy."
Yeah, don't
whip
hold
that
it against
one
me
up.
because I'm proud of it.
But
You can't bring
What
it.
is middle child energy?
So middle child, hold on, let's go back. Can I just finish?
But
what I was saying?
respectfully, you're actually not a middle child. But in
Yeah.
my head, that does not
well, technically,
compute.
Rachel
Yes.
is. I would say
No,
Oscar,
I am.
Rachel, and Brock are all middle
Yeah, we
children.
are all middle childs. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, like, so it goes Jessie, it goes me, it goes Brock, and we all grew up from ages like 1 to 8 to like 9 together, and then came Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Don't forget about me.
So obviously growing up regular, blah, 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 blah. But then when you hit puberty, it's like, hold on a second, Jessie. I'm not following your lead. You're not the coolest person in my universe anymore. Look at all these cool people I'm
She's
meeting
too
at high
cool
school.
for a big sister.
Do you know what I mean? So then there was probably like a little bit of like, I'm going my way.
Yeah.
Jesse's going her way. I kind of had to figure out who I was. Apparently Jessie always just knew who she was, which is great. Go you. And
Is that true, Jessie?
And then like becoming an adult and growing up and becoming mature and exploring more of the world, you're like, holy moly, I forgot how much I love my family. Family's everything, which is, I think, a really classic like process to go through. It's just the process
To
of
be
growing
fair,
up.
like when I was in my early 20s, even like 19, I think I first left home at about 16. And I went to Sydney, lived with my grandma. Then I kind of flickered to and from, and then I permanently moved away. I think I moved away for years and years and like was always coming back and forth. But then I was in my like brat era, I guess, like not appreciative era.
What do you mean, brat era?
Well,
Brat
it
era,
was
so
just
brat
like,
era
I
for
wanted
me is you're figuring stuff
shit
out.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're
I wanted to
figuring,
live a
you're
bigger
trying all
life, I
these
don't
random
know.
different things. Nobody really understands what you're doing. But
Do you know what? I will
you're
actually
doing
take
it.
accountability here. When I was younger, I went through a brat era because I was going through a stupid breakup and I was not self-aware enough to admit that my relationship was making me not appreciate everything else in my life. So I went through a brat era. I had to
That's
move
pretty,
away
like, classic for
by
a young
myself. And then
I
by
feel
the
like you
time
have
I
to
was
do that.
Yeah.
yeah, but like then by 21, 22, girl was straight. Like back to the family. I had my head in line, being like, oh, relationships can leave you.
Yeah.
People can do wrong by
Yeah.
you, but your family's something you've
Your
got for
family
life.
sticking
Yeah,
by
so
your side
Jessie and I
forever.
probably hit that point, like where it was kind of like, you know, you separate for a little bit, being like, you need your own space to figure out who you are, right? And then we kind of both grew up at the same time. We're like, oh, like we love the family, and oh my gosh, like I love you.
Like it's not that
Do
deep.
you remember those little jokes that we used to have? Like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to laugh at that again. Like it's kind of that vibe. Whereas whatever Jessie used to say, I was like, shush, I don't want to hear it.
But I think it's very common to drift apart from your family for a period in your life.
Yes.
And I think it's also really important to kind of bring yourself back and be like, it's okay, we can make up. We don't have to be stubborn. I don't have to move away and never come back. It's fine to go move back into my home.
Yeah.
It's fine to move back with my family.
Were you two mischievous children?
Oh my gosh, yes. I was a brat. I was so sneaky.
But Rachel is the most
No,
straight edge adult.
Yeah. I'm like so
But
innocent,
you were
so pure,
mischievous as a
so
child.
like good intentions now. But oh my
But
gosh,
oh my God, back then.
but like it was a mess. But I figured it out. You know, I realized that lying wasn't the right thing to do.
But this is like one thing I always say about life.
That honesty is the best policy, right? But like I had to learn my lessons, and I learned them. Okay, and I'm
be
not
fair, guys,
going back down
when
that
she's
road.
saying she's mischievous, she's literally talking about stealing the food Mum was going to pack in our school lunch boxes. Like it actually wasn't that deep. Like
Yeah,
she
yeah,
wasn't
it
no
wasn't deep.
criminal.
Yeah.
But like to us, like that was not abiding by the rules.
Yes,
We were
it was
cheeky.
naughty. It
We
was
gave
naughty behavior.
our parents some cheek. We were
Yeah, I was like sassy. I was
were
like
sassy.
I was definitely like my way or the highway.
Yeah, but
You know what I
you
mean?
weren't like a
You
bad
tell.
child. You weren't like in crime or
Sometimes-
anything like that. Everyone, just to be clear,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
a really good civilian.
Yes, but one time I did steal one of Mum and Dad's cigarettes.
Really?
Really? Did you not know this?
Did you?
Yeah, of course. What, didn't everybody?
I think my fair parents vaped when I was a kid, but I
To
remember.
be very clear,
But I remember when I used to come
I
back
was
from
like, I'm
like.
going to try that. What are they huffing and puffing about all the time?
literally puffing.
I feel like it's
Now
a
this
classic,
woman
you wanna
won't
try
even,
these
she doesn't
things.
even drink alcohol anymore. So like she's like fully.
I enjoy the taste of alcohol, but it has to be something I genuinely like.
But anyways,
And I am like careful like where I drink and when I drink.
yeah. But
Yeah.
one of my life quotes is like,
not.
if you don't have the lesson, you'll never learn. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to mess up to learn in life. So it's
Yeah,
not that deep.
100%.
So I came from a small family. I've only got one brother, and that
Yes.
was like one of the coolest things I thought. Like coming to Australia and meeting your family was how big your family was, and like I always felt, there's always like something to do, where I felt like sometimes if I was like growing up, if my brother was out or something, it would be just like a very boring household because there wouldn't be a lot of things to do. How was it growing up in a big household? Did like people get angry if they weren't getting the attention? Or was it like lovely because you could all play?
Our household wasn't that big growing up because it was me, Rachel and Brock.
But I didn't think
they're
three's a
still
good
together.
dynamic.
Yeah. We'll go back. So first of all, I have a really loud voice and I have a very dominant voice. That is because if you did not speak loudly, if you do not speak quickly, y'all didn't get hurt.
And it's the same with food. If you don't get in first and eat
No, this is really funny. Me and Rachel.
do the dinner table
I didn't even eat my dinner. You could have mine.
No, can I say something?
Afterwards, after
So
you.
the other day we took Rachel out to Oxford and we went to the Grand Cafe. Which is apparently the oldest cafe in Oxford. And we weren't too hungry, so we just got like a scone and a cake and we all had coffees.
Jesse's being revealed right now.
Yeah,
Guys,
so
yeah,
we
they're
were
just gonna
all
come at me this
nibbling.
whole
We were all
episode.
nibbling at the cake, and Jessie wasn't really eating it. And then she kind of like threw her toys out the pram and was like, "Well, I like to enjoy my food like after my coffee and like to enjoy
They
it
ate
like
it in,
with
like,
the
2
coffee."
seconds.
And
Will and I, sorry, I'll take over. Will and I were
Gobbled.
super hungry, so we're like, damn, cake, let's eat that. And Jessie was acting like this posh lady, being like, I like to nibble and I just
yeah, just take it slow, like eat slow,
like
guys.
enjoy the cake. You don't. It's all about
Guys.
quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
Mate, I mix my sugar into my coffee, I blink, and then the fucking scone's gone.
No, but then the next day we went to Blenheim Palace and had
I learned my lesson.
and had the sausage roll. And Jessie ate it down in a minute before she even had a sip
Guys, I
of
learned my
coffee.
lesson. I learned my lesson the day before.
She cut off like the biggest chunk. She lathered on the cream,
Yep.
on the jam, and scooped it down.
Guys,
I was like, girl, you need to get your facts straight because what you're telling us is not
Nah.
consistent.
Yeah.
hold up. The day before, I blink and the fucking scone's gone. I was so excited for it. So the next day, I paid for it. I was like, I'm not taking risks here. Bitch is going to eat the fucking scone in one
I
bit.
feel like this is an exaggeration.
Because the whole cake, the carrot cake situation at the whole cafe.
Yeah, you guys ate all the icing off the cake.
One-off. You've never done that before.
No, I've never
It was just like a
seen-
one-off.
Yeah.
1 out of a billion that you felt that way.
Because you guys ate the icing in 2 seconds. We have a whole cake there and they get their forks, their big old forks and go scoop, scoop, 1 scoop, 2 scoop, take all the icing off the cake. And I'm like, okay.
No, that did confuse me because I was
think
like, I've
what
never
is-
seen Jessie like this before.
What it's coming down to is Jessie is jealous that she didn't get as much cream cheese icing as us.
Yeah, and I was not having it the next day. I was like, I am not sitting back and letting you guys take the icing and the sausage roll and thing. Girl was getting it fast.
Okay, so she learned her lesson there. This is, maybe we could rename
No,
the
I didn't
podcast
learn
to
my
your
lesson
Yeah.
because I actually didn't wear this down for the rest of the day because every time I said something, they were like, oh, you in the scone, you in
Well,
the
you
sausage.
did it awfully quick. Like, and just to give everyone clarity, it's not like me and Rachel ate the food in 30
did.
seconds. Like it was
They
like
actually
5.
did.
It was
Jesse's
over the
making it
course.
sound like we're like a vacuum.
Yeah, it was over the course of like 5 minutes.
They're
that we-
lying. They actually did vacuum it.
I swear to God, it was like I finished my coffee and there was still food left.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know
what I mean. You should eat your coffee at the same time as your cake.
Yeah, but that's
You know
what
what
I'm
the problem was? Is we had a scone and we had a piece of cake. But we should have like another piece of something.
Yeah.
Anywho, as I was saying, back in the day when we were kids, if you didn't get to the dinner table first, you didn't get as much food.
That's not true though. I think in other families that was, like growing up, like with other families, we went and stayed at their house.
Yeah.
But mum would serve our dinners up. Like we had separate plates. Like I had the yellow plate because I'm mum's
Oh
little
my
ray.
God, okay,
Hold on,
no.
Hold on. I'm mum's little ray of sunshine. So she gave me a yellow plate.
Can we explain the plate situation? Because I went to the house.
Jessie got the red plate because she is a fiery ball of fire.
No, so they actually have specific colours of plates, and I didn't know. So Jessie got me out, I think, Oscar's plate, and Oscar flipped the lid that I had his
the
plate. And I was
plate.
like, oh my God, I have like no idea.
Yeah,
So can,
I
for
think-
everyone listening and watching, explain the plate situation because
Okay,
it's serious.
Our mum has learned over the years that we fight over food. Food is a very big thing in our family, and I think we've all learned, and you've probably observed this coming in as an outsider. The one thing you don't do in this household is eat someone else's food. That is just like you're overstepping the fucking line. Do not eat my food.
No, I actually disagree, Jessie. I think that's
Oh,
a
I
you
always
thing.
ate your food though. But
That's a
anywho,
Jessie thing because everyone in the family, we all
Nah.
share. Sharing is caring. With
nah, not when it comes to dinner, mate. So mum,
I'm sorry, but we actually have to agree to disagree because that's not how I see it.
okay, well, I know Oscar will have my side on this one because Will's witnessed this. So mum has been like, let's scrap the arguments. Everyone has their own coloured plate. And your food on your plate's your food. And then Will came down to stay with our family. I get out just plates because I'm like, whatever, that's from years ago. I haven't lived at home for a couple of years. So I get out my brother Oscar's plate. Mum serves up like food on Oscar's plate. And then Will eats. And Oscar, I tell you, he was done.
No, I don't think he was like, who is eating off of my plate? And I was like, I'm so sorry, but I was given this plate.
I'm also going to give them like another disclaimer. Oscar is a 17-year-old growing male. He's hungry.
No, he didn't know it was Will. He was like,
yeah, he was
not
fine.
happy.
Yeah, he was fine when he
Brock or
noticed
Dad
it was
had-
me. But yeah, he thought it was someone else. And I was like, I had no one pre-warned
So
me
awkward.
about this coloured plate situation.
Yeah. And
So
I
when
go,
I
there
was
you go, have
going,
that plate.
yeah, when I was coming and I would just like get a plate out or Jessie would get me a plate, I wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Now I'm trained when I go back, I'm like, no coloured plates,
Yeah.
I'm not even touching
It's because mum
them.
serves our proportions to it and she knows what we all like.
Yeah, and
Well,
like
Mum, she's
as
just
well.
such a good
yeah,
doll.
Mum was great. She was on the ball. She was making things efficient.
Yeah, no,
Another thing is
100%.
like I was a super picky kid, and I love potatoes. So my plate would always have like less vegetables and more potatoes.
Guys, let's actually just take a round of applause for our mother. That is really great.
We know you're
That's
watching.
great hospitality. That is just beautiful. We love
Yeah.
her.
Great hospitality.
It is.
good hospitality.
You know,
Great
I'm like, I'm
parenting.
really
I
grateful.
wouldn't say that like, oh, thanks for the hospitality, mum.
That is
Do you know
great.
what I mean?
Like, she didn't actually have to do that. She could have made us serve ourselves.
Yeah, it's good. I actually think it's extremely efficient when I go to your place of food. No, it is. It's extremely, it's
And the
difficult.
parents have the white plates.
No, but it's so difficult because there's,
Let's
well,
go
when
ahead, Paul.
I'm there's like 6 people or 7 people. There's a lot of people to cook for and a lot of people to know how much food to cook for.
Yeah.
So your mum definitely does do a good job. So.
Yeah,
well,
she does
yeah.
do a really good
After
job.
having 5 children, she's learned her lessons.
Yeah.
It's all about lessons, people.
Today's topic is all about lessons.
Yeah. So everyone watching and listening who watches Jessie on like social media or listens on the podcast have a perception of Jessie, which necessarily might not be like Jessie's true self and myself, which I've been with her for like the last 2 years. You've known her whole life. So how is it different? Is it weird people watching her have a perception of Jessie or is it different?
Yeah. So I don't think like my perception of Jessie is different. I just think I've seen a very different side. Like I've grown up to Jessie.
Yeah.
And she's like my older sister, and there's like things that I really love about her, and there's things that like she does that really annoy me.
Like what?
Offering the clothes.
No, so yeah, I suppose I don't know how to answer that question really.
Mm.
I feel like Rachel doesn't
It's
actually
more
watch
just
our
like-
socials very much.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah, so
actually
I don't know what everyone else's perception of Jessie is. Like
Yeah.
I
Because,
actually don't know because I see whenever I'm scrolling on Instagram or I'm scrolling on TikTok, I like see Jessie. I'm like, oh yeah, like there's Jessie. Like she's just doing like her work stuff. Do you know what I mean? Whereas other people might have a different connection to it. I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know. And so many people, like when I'm around in Tasmania or I'm in Australia and people know that you're my sister, they're always like, oh my gosh, what's it like having a sister who's like so big on social media? And I'm like, I genuinely like don't think about it. Like she's just my sister. Like she sleeps in the top bunk and like I vacuum the room sometimes. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's
from
just-
my perspective,
What have you said?
There's a backstory.
You vacuumed the
backstory.
room.
Well, like, it's-
You
okay,
need to
backstory behind that.
You need to explain
I-
it. You can't just pull out, oh, she sleeps on the top bed and I sometimes vacuum.
But people would think, what's this bitch on?
Yeah, this doesn't
What's
make
Jessie like
sense.
in person? She sleeps at the top.
And
I vacuum.
for
It's
me,
like-
okay, I'll try to make it clearer.
I know.
I
You're
know
not
how
giving
to
a very
say.
good resume.
What's the vacuum story?
So when I was a kid, I was like a big sleeper. I'm still, you guys would know. I'm
Sleeps
very,
online.
I
Yeah.
sleep a lot. The girl needs sleep. So I used to sleep on the top bunk and Rachel would fucking vacuum at like 6, 7 a.m. and I would not be happy about that. Why are
Yeah.
you cleaning? You were like 6 years old and you get the
I don't know,
vacuum
I
out.
just liked having a schedule and things to do.
Yeah,
nice.
like she would
I was
wake up
like a
at like 6
chores
a.m.
girl.
So I feel like obviously that memory is very prominent in your mind.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is like my perception of Jessie, she's just still like my big sister.
Yeah.
And like for me, like I just see young Jessie, but you're older and you're working. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, there just isn't any like, there isn't any like, obviously there's growth and change and like you have change, but I just see the evolution of it all. I don't know if that, I haven't really
I
thought
feel
about
like
that
we just
question.
see each other as sisters. And if I were to go into your workplace and people say, what's Rachel like? I'm like, oh no, she's just my sister.
Yeah,
She just
And I'll just
vacuums.
always know.
Yeah.
Jessie
Rachel
yeah,
vacuums.
she just
I
vacuums.
actually don't vacuum that much.
Well, I love vacuuming.
Yeah, Will does. I actually got him
got a
a
Dyson.
Hoover. Hoover for his birthday, and he loves it.
I know, and I wanted a trip to Paris, and Jessie got me a Hoover.
Yeah, but it's your favorite
but
gear.
you're
No,
a
I'm
housewife.
joking.
That's the thing. Okay, so Will is like housewife vibes.
Oh yeah,
Someone's got to do it.
He's got the iron.
I've
He
got,
does the cooking, the cleaning.
he does the cooking, does the cleaning.
yeah, pretty much. I do that.
You love that though. You love boasting. Like,
I mean, I would like some help once in a while.
oh, we're not getting into this, guys. We've had many arguments about this.
And I've had to be the middle of it.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
What's 3 differences from Jessie as a kid to Jessie now then?
Yes, so I think that's a good way to word it.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'd say, Jessie, growing up, when I looked at you, I saw you as really adventurous, outdoorsy, and quite tomboy. Whereas like now, like you're really like, bet your hair looks bad like that. And I'm just like, oh, it's like, you need to like wear this. And I'm like, oh, like I feel like in the past you were really like, let's go for an adventure and let's go bike riding. I'd say that's something that's really, really different.
Yeah.
But I can imagine like as you do grow up and like, you know, you want to be more
I
feminine.
did go through my tomboy era, and I will preface this. So I did not want to be a girl when I was in primary school, so I wore a hat every day.
Oh.
And
See, these are the things that like, yeah.
so I wore a hat every day for literally like 2 years straight. But then the teachers at school and my mum and dad and everyone told me if I keep wearing my hat, I'm going to go bald.
And very adventurous. I'd say like, yeah, that's probably a big one.
You're not adventurous now?
I think you are adventurous. You're just adventurous in a different way. And like obviously as you grow up, like adventurous changes.
Mm.
Like adventurous with your career instead of being like adventurous with toys
Yeah.
or adventurous with your backyard. I'd say like probably another one, Jessie was a bit shy. But once again, like I saw Jessie when it was like me and her playing around the house and she was like, Rachel, no, do this, da, 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 and let's play this game. Like, so for me, like in those instances, you weren't shy. But then if like more people came along and I saw you in a group environment or school environment, I'd say like, oh, you were a bit more shy.
I still think
Well,
I'm like
obviously
that
nowadays-
though.
Yeah.
Like,
I
go
see you
quiet.
go inside your shell, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Like when there's too many people, I just like back away in a shell, which is weird, really weird that I went on reality TV. But I think like with reality TV, you get so comfortable with a small group of people.
Yeah.
So it's like lucky I lasted over a week because then I came out of my shell and was my true self.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm like in any situation, unless I force myself out of my shell.
I do think just like those face value like conversations though, like you're so good at. Whereas like
Yeah.
when you were a kid, like I didn't really see that much.
Mm.
So that's probably a big change. And then obviously like now you're living in the UK.
So you think I've grown?
I think we're all wrong.
That's beautiful.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Next, what was one thing that you disliked about each other growing up?
Probably like, okay, so we'll go like primary school and then we'll go high school because I feel like that changes.
Okay.
No, just seriously, in primary school, I just loved you. I was just like, love watching you play the Nintendo. Like I was like always backing you, always behind you. And then
I actually did love video games.
I just loved it. Like I don't even think when I was a kid, my head went into like that negative space of being like, I don't like my sister. Maybe like if you, okay, there was this
Is there one
time.
thing that annoyed you?
Let me tell you, there was this one time. So, and I got in a lot of trouble for this and I felt so bad. In fact, I still like, so like mum said that we could get a cookie. So I was like, hey mum, can we go get a cookie?
Oh my God.
And then mum says, yes, you guys can go get a cookie. I was like, bloody hell, this is amazing. I cannot wait to get my mittens on a cookie. So I'm running to get this cookie, but Jessie runs there and gets there faster.
And somehow leap on the bench.
She
Because it was
leaps
in
on the
like
bench.
the top, you know how you have like a
Yeah.
bench and then you have like an up above cupboard?
Yeah.
We were very small children, petite. And so I don't know how I fucking leap on this bench to get this cookie because it was in the above cupboard. Like, don't need a
So
ladder.
anyways, Jessie gets up on the bench and then like she's actually being really sweet and lovely. Like my adult perspective is very different to my childhood perspective.
We're like 5
Jesse's
years old
being
and
lovely.
3.
She's like, she gets the cookie jars because all the kids like cramming, being like, I want a cookie. She's sitting up high on this bench. She's handing out these cookies like Mother Teresa. Right? So anyway, she goes to hand the cookie and I just thought to myself, I was like, I don't want you to hand me my cookie. I want to get my own cookie. And I punch her in the face. Tooth falls out and I was like, give me my own damn cookie. I don't want you handing me a cookie.
This is my first tooth loss, by the way.
So-
I've never lost a tooth. This
When
is how I lost my
it
first
comes
tooth.
to like, is there anything that I disliked? It was like small moments like that where
Yeah.
there was just something petty going on in my head where I was fixated on the idea that only I could get my cookie.
Yeah.
And Jessie ruined that. So there's things like that. But apart from that, like,
Yeah, bro, I
love
can't
Jessie.
believe you actually punched out my first tooth. We don't really talk about this enough.
I felt really bad.
Do you know,
I
mind you?
felt bad eating that cookie. I was like, I don't deserve this.
Yeah, because I couldn't eat my cookie because my tooth was out. I had no tooth to chew
I know,
with.
it just became a big ordeal because like Mum let us go fetch our own cookies.
It was really
And then
unexpected.
She takes her eyes off us for 5 seconds, and like one of her kids has punched the other one in the face. The other one's crying because I got the tooth coming out. I'm crying in the corner, nibbling on a cookie. Like just absolutely.
By the way,
chaos.
this is probably the first and only time Rachel has ever punched me. And I don't even know if it was like an accident. I don't know what was going
I don't know, it was
on.
just
But
like-
I remember I was really happy because in primary school, I actually didn't lose my first tooth till I was in like grade 3 or 4. I was
you're
really
happy about
old.
this.
Oh, you got some cash at
The
the end of the
universe
night?
works in
Yeah,
mysterious
I got
ways.
my tooth fairy money.
So Jessie manifested me punching her in the face so she could lose
It wasn't
Yeah,
even
so
a wobbly
technically it's
tooth.
actually
That
Jessie's
punch
fault.
didn't even come from my
Guys,
fist.
do you know how embarrassing
It was a force.
She forced me.
Do you know how embarrassing it was though, being like the only kid in school to have
Yeah.
like not lost a baby tooth?
I
Like, that
actually
shit was,
remember
like-
Mum having conversations about it, being like, I'm worried about Jessie.
Yeah, they had to like, they thought something was wrong with me because I was literally like almost a tween and I still had baby teeth in my mouth. And my baby teeth were tiny.
Man,
so
this
I'd
is
have
bringing back-
one big tooth like this
This is
and one
bringing
tooth
back
like
memories.
literally Stella size.
Yeah, but everybody at their own pace.
I
know
felt
what I
like
mean?
my tooth came
very
out really
slow.
late.
But Rachel helped me. I manifest Rachel punching my tooth out.
Okay, that's where it came from. Because seriously, I actually do not have bad bone in my body.
Manny.
All right, so
And
then
for
we go into high school. Right, okay, let's go into
let's
high
do.
school. So I'd say some of the things that I definitely struggled with having an older sister is just that pressure of like Rachel, like Jessie's 3 years older. She's so much smarter than me. She knows everything about the world. And I'm just being like, hey, like I'm just trying to do my own thing over here. Like telling me like I need to wear this and I need to do that with my hair. And Rachel like, let her do that. And I'm like, wait, that's just who I am.
Excuse me, when you say we're not allowed to do that, are you referring to the burp?
Okay, guys, so we've been
She's
like,
referring to the burp, and I
we've
know
been
it.
like talking about this birth story, this
burp.
this burp story all day, but I've
This was like a defining moment for me.
Yeah,
I've
this
been
is
getting
really
them
big
to
in the
stop
history of our
telling me
relationship.
it.
Yeah.
This is like the first time that I'm hearing about this burp story, and it's almost come up in
Okay,
conversation
let
like
me
3
tell
or
the
4
story
times.
through my eyes.
Oh my God.
Because Jessie's story side will be really different.
I actually don't
So
care. I'm sorry it
in high
offended
school.
you.
I'm in high school having a great time with my
Grade
friends.
7 she is, and I think I'm grade 10.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, I'm having a great time with my friends, blah, 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 blah. We're all getting along. I have lunch, have some like fizzy or something, and I need a burp. So I'm around my friendship group, and I'm like, oh my gosh, haha, burp, and I burp.
Okay, it was not like that. It was a big burp.
Like, right, you're around your friends, you feel comfortable, like you're silly. And then apparently Jessie, and like we're all laughing, and we're like, oh my gosh, haha, it's such a funny burp. Like, we're in high school, we find these things funny, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, Jessie hears it from across the courtroom, apparently. And she's like, Rachel, you're so embarrassing. And
This
I
is
was just
at school, by the way.
where Jessie is like so caught up with being like, I don't know, top dog in the social hierarchy.
Okay,
or
this
something.
is, I actually will give you a little bit of background. She burped right in front of the boys, the cool guys in my group.
They were so far away. They must have had bloody like.
I can still see it in
animal
my hair.
hearing because
Not that I care about these guys now, but in high school, my little sister joins my school, right? And she comes to my school. And it was really funny. They did all laugh it off, and I pretended to laugh it off, but like, girl was embarrassed. So the boys are all sitting along on this bench here. Rachel and her little friends, like little grade 7s, like, diddy, diddy, diddy. Rachel lets out this huge ass burp. Everyone turns around and
Not
looks,
big.
including myself. And then I see it's
I
my
do better.
sister who's done this big burp.
Hold on, let's take it back a step. I've heard Jessie do bigger burps.
Yeah, but not at school. But anyways, this was like a very
So that's probably
big
what I didn't like.
pivotal
Jessie was
moment.
very like.
And then what, did
Jessie
she
was
like
like a
tell you
hawk,
off?
like watching.
I like turned around and scared, like,
I was like this little rabbit, like free, full of energy, living my life, making new friends. And Jessie was like this hawk, like, with whatever I did.
So, dude, this is
freedom
all
to
of the
be
back of the
myself.
burp.
Yes. Yes.
This is
what I was
the
saying.
burp, literally, when we were younger.
And what, did Jessie shout at you at school, or was this when you got
No,
home?
because it was a half shout. I couldn't shout at her like I would at home. I was like, Rachel. And then they were like, your sister burped. fact. And they were all like laughing. I was like, yeah, she drank the fizzy. And I was like trying to make excuses for the big old burp. And they were like, do you burp like that? And like inside, I know. Rachel, your burp was huge. They thought it was funny. The boys actually found it hilarious. But as a girl their age, like I was like, oh my God, they're not going to think I'm hot anymore. Do you know what I mean? Back at that time.
See, I'm such an expressive person. I'm very myself.
I'm now. The burp spoke 1,000 language.
Anyways.
Okay, yeah. And then did Jessie do anything else at school that annoyed you?
No, I think that was about it.
I think I was a pretty good sister.
No, I'd just say, like, you know, as a kid, idolized Jessie, loved her, so adventurous, so fun. We played so many fun games and, like, we had such a creative imagination. And then on top of that, we grew up in the country, so we had so much land to just roam around and do whatever we liked. So that was really fun. Then we kind of got into high school and it was kind of like, Jessie, go away, give me my own space. I want to do my own thing. I want to burp. I wasn't supposed to
Free the burp.
Okay.
Also, I actually don't care about the burp now, but like.
No, we laugh about it.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Okay, Jessie, roles reverse. What's one thing that you loved?
Oh, yeah, let it out, girl.
Yeah, what's one thing
I
you
thought
loved?
it was the coolest thing ever having a little younger sister, except when you did the burp. The burp did traumatize me at school. But we're not going to go into the burp any further. We've already discussed this 1,000 times. But I thought it was like the coolest thing having a little sister. Like when Rachel was in kindergarten and I was in year 6, I used to come and collect her from the small playground because kindergartens couldn't go to the big school. I'd get you every single day. Like, I just thought it was the best. And I think all my friends thought you were the coolest. You know, when we had sleepovers, I was like a big old sleepy bear. I'd have sleepovers with my friends and I would fall asleep at like 8 o'clock and Rachel would just stay up with them till like midnight. And they just thought you were like the coolest little sister, bar one friend.
Oh, right, yeah. There was one friend that thought I was really annoying.
Other than that, all my friends adored you and I adored you and I still adore you.
Yeah.
The only negative about you, I would say.
I don't know what she's going to say.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I go through life lessons and then I try to like pre-warn you. I'm like, oh, you know, it's rough out here. Take a little word of advice. Life's hard. And my sister be like, yeah, no, like I want to learn it myself. I'm like, go. I'm like actually telling you it's rough out here. Like you don't want to learn this yourself. Like avoid this mistake. But you're very like, which is fair. I get it. You're like, I don't care. I'm like, girl, I'm actually trying to help you, not sabotage you. But I think that's the only thing. But I just think that's like what it is like having a sister, unfortunately.
That was supposed to be the one thing you loved about her.
Oh, I thought it was love and hate. Love and hate.
No, but
The one thing that Jessie liked about me was I loved having a little sister.
oh no, don't even get me started because I was like, oh, what do you love about me? Like me being your boyfriend, and she was like, oh, I love having you as my boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, but what specifically?
Is this girl even emotional?
Yeah, I was like, what specifically do you love about me? And you were like,
Like your blonde hair.
you're funny. I was like,
Yeah, we
what?
got really upset because you asked me what I liked. I was like, I love that you're my boyfriend.
Yeah, I was like, why do you love me? And she was like, because you're my boyfriend. And I was like,
Yeah, but that's pretty self-explanatory.
I don't.
I wouldn't want anyone else to be my boyfriend. Maybe I'm not very good with my words. I need to read some more poetry.
Maybe not. We're going to move on to Love Island, and we're going to have to talk about Love Island because this is actually where I first met Rachel. So for anyone that doesn't know, me and Jessie obviously went onto the show, went onto Love Island, and part, I guess, of the experiment is that family and friends come in. So you get 2 people per family to come in. And then this is like the first time Rachel would have met part of my family as well, which is a crazy thing to think about because obviously we live at opposite ends of the world and it just probably would have never happened otherwise. So what I want to know, so we're actually going to just take it back because our obviously experience on Love Island is going to be completely different to yours. So we take it back right to the beginning. When you first found out, how did you find out Jessie was going on to Love Island UK and how was that?
Yeah. So I think we were out one night. So I don't know, we weren't living in the same place.
I was in Sydney and I think I came back.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to pick up all the pieces. So Jessie came down to Tasmania for a short period of time. And then
Maybe
our
Christmas?
timelines didn't line up too much at that point in my life. Like I was pretty busy, Jessie was pretty busy, but we happened to be out one night together. And then I was literally walking to my car to drive home and I remember Jessie just being dropping the bomb, being like, oh, I might be going on Love Island UK. And then I was like, okay, cool. like she's already been on Love Island, so it wasn't like too much of a shock to the system,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Really?
And
I
then
thought it was a shock.
And then, well,
This
you
was
said you
years
might
after.
be. You said you might.
Yeah, so it's quite
was like-
undecisive. It's like
especially with like TV shows and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, like you might be, you might not be. I heard what you said. Cool. So I think that's how it was dropped. And then I suppose like it just like got further and further, and you actually did end up going on the show. But even when like you do fly over, there is always that like possibility that you don't actually go on the
Yeah.
show. So it's not actually confirmed until we genuinely see you up on TV. I suppose like when you flew over to the UK and stuff like that, it all started to become like a lot more real, being like, oh, she could potentially be on Love Island UK.
yeah.
But I think I
obviously
was
Love
very
Island UK is
clear
very-
to my family because I didn't want to get my own hopes up and tell everyone around me,
Yeah.
I'm going on Love Island, and then they see me in there for a day. So I was
Yeah.
actually very low key about
Yeah.
it because I was like, and I thought, I was like, I might tell my close friends and family because when I went on Love Island Australia, I barely told anyone. And I actually really regretted that because my friends were genuinely concerned about me.
Yeah.
So when I found out I might be getting shipped off for Love Island UK, I thought, I'm going to tell a few people,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to say I'm going on. I'm going to, you know, I was still not sure if I wanted to go on, where I stood, if I was going to go on, if I would even last in there, because I think being an Australian in a UK TV show is pretty scary.
Yeah.
So I just
100%.
was very low key, and that's probably, I kind of feel bad because Rachel has mentioned to me, oh, you know, you told me, you dropped the bombshell very suddenly that I was going on the show because I didn't think of it as that big myself. I didn't think I would last as long and find
Yeah.
a couple and move to the UK or
Yeah.
anything. I just was
I
very
think it's
casual.
Pretty surreal.
Particularly like going on as a bombshell as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like you're kind of there to stir.
The pot. And
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't really me.
What are actually the real chances of going on like a TV show? A TV show just in general, but then a TV show in a different country. Like the chances are
Yeah.
probably just like
It almost felt like
I
the
agree,
opportunity was too good to be real. Like, as an Australian, we've always loved Love Island UK. You know, even though I didn't watch it, you still idolize the people back
Yeah.
off it. When we were younger, like think about Molly May season and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
I
think
feel
they're really cool people. And I was like, as if I'm going into that environment. Do you know what I mean? Like, no. So I just really downplayed it because I almost didn't even realize that, oh, I'm going on Love Island UK.
Yeah. It was, pretty big.
I didn't want to make a commotion in case
It
I
was
failed.
different, yeah. I think like if you go back to like when Jessie went on like the Australian version, it was just like, whoa, like that feels like really, I don't know, it felt really different. But then like after already going in the Australian version, and like you had opportunities as well to go on other like reality TV shows in between like the Australian Love Island and the UK Love Island.
Yeah.
So I kind of always knew that you were looking for another opportunity. I just didn't know what that was going to be.
yeah,
Then it
Yeah.
happened to be like something quite big. Like I feel like Love Island UK is huge.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
big, yeah.
I
And
know,
how
that's my
pretty
perspective.
random.
I don't really like. That's another thing for me. I don't watch reality TV show at
Yeah.
all.
No, my
Like, I don't
family
really
don't
watch-
watch
I
reality
don't
TV,
watch
which is really funny.
TV. The only thing that I do watch is I love Ted Lasso. And when I was a kid, like when I was 16, I went through this period where I loved the show Merlin. If anyone's listening and they listen to Merlin, I love you. Let's watch it together.
So when I went on Love Island, they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, this
so how did you just choose that it was you and your mum going on? was
I
that
think
like
it was
a-
pretty obvious.
Was it a family?
It was really obvious.
Because
like,
Jessie had no idea. I remember being in the villa with her, and she was like
Yeah.
adamant. She was maybe semi-sure. She was like, I think Rachel, my sister, might come, but with
Yeah.
someone else. She had no idea
Yeah,
about
it was
your
gonna
mum
be
coming.
Respectfully, like my family have to work. You know, you can't just take a week off work in our world. Let's be real. We live so far away from South Africa. You've got a job, mum's got a job,
Yeah.
we've got a family.
So the biggest stressor was like, is mum going to get her passport in time? I already had my passport. That was all sorted. But the producers of your Love Island UK, I suppose you could call them, they were elite. Like they got a passport sorted.
Shout out ITV. Mum's going to be coming to the UK
she
off
got
that visa.
They got that sorted in like 1 week when it
I
can
can't
take like
believe
up to
that.
6 months. Plus, mind you, this was like after COVID, so heaps of people were applying for passports, so the process was even longer. And then when it came to me, so Love Island, Jessie and Will's season was filmed. You go.
I want to explain this. In Australia, you don't need a passport. I feel like in the UK, for some reason, you have to have a
Yeah.
passport. In Australia, you don't actually need a passport. You can travel interstate without a
Yeah.
passport. So not
Australia's
everyone.
so big. So like you have
yeah.
so much time exploring your own land that you don't really think too much about traveling
passport, yeah.
internationally. And it's so diverse as well. So like you go to Tasmania or you go to the Northern Territory or you go to like West Australia. You've got all these different diverse lands. You don't really feel like,
Need
oh my
a
gosh, I
passport,
need
yeah.
to internationally travel.
So I was like 20 when I got a passport. You were like 24. Mum was whatever age she is, 30, 36, 37, 45.
yeah, you got all those numbers wrong, but that's okay. So
You
Mum's whatever
tried.
age. Hadn't had a passport her whole
she's
life.
painting a picture, but it ain't correct. It ain't no Van
I
Gogh.
can't remember how old Mum is. But yeah, so in Australia, you don't actually have to have a passport. So my mum didn't have a passport, and ITV were very good to whip out a passport for my mum.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I didn't think my family were going to be able to come because no
Yes.
one in my family has a passport.
Okay, let's be real. So Mum definitely wanted to go. She stressed that she didn't get a passport. She got a passport. She was like, yes, I'm going. The biggest concern was like leaving Stella because she was so young at that point.
How old was
Our
Stella
little
when?
baby
How old
Stella,
was
she
Stella?
would have been like 2 or 3.
She'd been 2?
Yeah, she would have been 2. So Mum didn't, like, honestly.
2 years ago, 2.5 years
We can cut
ago.
this out, but I'm just saying Mum cried every night because she missed Stella so much. And me, as like her daughter, I was like, Mum, just like bloody, like, oh.
I'm
This
here,
is probably
Mum.
the first time she's ever left Stella though.
Yeah, so it was a lot for Mum. Question of you, I've been saving this one. So just a backstory, I feel like I have known some of the questions that Jessie and Will were going to ask me on the podcast. And like we've spent so much time together and I've been wanting to like tell you guys these things for so long.
Okay.
Now I
Sharing,
finally
opening
get
up.
to share. Okay, so I feel like my first impression with you, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy's off Love Island. I was like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect, but I feel like
He must
sometimes
be really cool.
I think like sometimes like from my perspective, and I could totally be wrong, but like reality TV, it's like I don't know if this person's legit, if they're just putting on a show, blah 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 blah. And I was like, Jessie's fallen in love with this person, but they're like inside this villa, is it legit? But I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go along with it. So first impression of you was like a preconceived idea of being like, he's a guy who's applied for Love Island, he wants to get big, he wants to blah blah blah. He's doing it for like the social side of things. But then when I actually met you, I was like, oh wow, like he's so lovely and he's so nice and he's so friendly. But then I think there's like the other side of like meeting you outside of the villa, which I feel
Yeah.
like was a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And like I've spent
I think
so much
it's
time with
really
you now.
weird when someone comes into such a personal space as your home.
Unorganic.
Yeah.
The villa situation is unorganic.
Yes, exactly. And like even for me and Mum, like we weren't feeling comfortable to be ourselves. So how can we evaluate if you're comfortable?
No, 100%. And like, when are we ever going to be sat in a villa with cameras with like my dad and brother beside me, Jessie, and then you and your mum
It's
beside
almost
you?
like- Yeah, when you're at home, it's
It's
such a
not
different
real.
experience. I feel like it's like the equivalent of when you're at work, you meet people all the time. That's such a different encounter to when you would meet them at home or at
And
your
it's
local
intense
bar.
chat because I remember one of the producers came over and then they like said to my dad and brother, they were like, so what do you think of Jessie? Do you think him and Will are gonna last?
Yeah.
Like that's just not conversations probably
Yeah.
that like families would have, like almost judging the relationship, being like, are they gonna work on the outside? It's not organic.
I'll tell you what though. So like, and just like a heads up, I didn't watch your season of Love Island. Like I don't watch Love Island. I knew that you were on there. I was trying to keep up to date.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I think it's because it was the UK. So when it aired, it was airing at a really
Delayed.
weird time.
Yeah.
Mum was keeping up to date with it like live as possible. And Mum watched it so much. Like she watched it like a hawk. She watched it a lot. So she would report back to me. So I was like, okay, that's my watching duties, wave for me. So I didn't watch it. But I tell you what, before we did go in the villa, we got to spend time with Tom and your dad, Andrew.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, our dad's name's Andrew as well. Like,
Yeah, we
how
both have the
crazy.
same
know.
dad's
Isn't it
name. That's
crazy?
weird.
So we got to meet them before we went in the villa. And then also after the villa, we met back up with them. And I just love them. Like Tom was so easy. He was so easy to get along with. He was so bubbly. And your dad, Andrew, like even just going over to your house and like having
I love
chats with him
Andrew.
in the morning. He's just so lovely. He's so sweet. And there was just like, I don't know, just when you talk to the parents, you can give like a real good vibe of like, man, this is a real, genuine, authentic person. And he was telling stories about you. And I think like the thing that just like sat really well is like, I know for a fact that like we're from a small town, like we grew up in the country. It's just real wholesome, good quality values. And your dad was just like screaming those same values. So
I
was
feel like
this is
with
gonna
your
work.
dad as well, because obviously in the villa it's so hard to tell. You probably had a different version of me that
Yeah.
you thought, and we've spoken about this before. You thought like, what did you think of me?
I didn't think you were a country girl.
No,
I think you were just claiming a country
Yeah.
title. I didn't
and
think.
I thought
was
that
like,
about
do you know what I mean?
I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's like, oh, my daddy owns a farm and I'm a farm boy. Then I came back, I was like,
farmer.
Yeah, I was like,
He's
he
really on the
works,
farm.
boy
Yeah.
works. But so when you like are in the villa, and as well when I heard you had TikTok followers as well, I was like, oh God, Do you know what I mean? I was like a social media boy
Renegade.
whose daddy's
Renegade.
a farmer. But then when we like met each other in person in real life, I was like, wow, like this is like the English version of my life, which was just so perfect and so rare.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do
that's
agree.
quite similar, yeah. What were your first thoughts on like me and mum then?
In the villa, it's really difficult to say because I feel like you go, because it is unauthentic. I don't actually feel like I had a conversation with you two.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I mean? It was like, I know you two were there, and then obviously what I did in Casa Amor, all I wanted to do was just apologise and say sorry. That's kind of like everything that was on my mind. So I don't feel like I had a organic conversation with you and your mum. So it was actually really hard to get that across. Do you know what I mean?
And it was such like a rush period.
So rushed. Well, like when you actually think about it, we had a bit of time apart, but we only had like 5 minutes or not even that together.
Yeah.
And it was really, it was almost, and it's like a whirlwind. Like I honestly could not remember the conversation
But I
that
think
we
I
had.
really appreciated when you wanted to come back to Australia with me.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like a really big telling point because you didn't have to come back to Australia. And I think it's pretty game.
Why are you taking so long to invite me to Australia, girl?
But I think I would never not want you to come to Australia. But like, to be honest, my family are my safe haven. I don't want no fuckboys near my family.
Yeah, but I think
I would never introduce a guy that I was not serious about to my family.
No, but my values is if your partner doesn't bring you back to their family, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
My values. It wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah, because if I wasn't serious about you, hell no.
100%, yeah.
I
that's
honestly
a good telling.
think
That's
it's
a
a
good telling.
disservice to myself and to my family to be introduced, especially when I've got younger siblings,
definitely.
to introduce them to every Tom, Dick and Harry that you talk to. Like, no. Only guys that I was ever serious, which is
100%.
literally 2 people in my whole entire life
100%.
that have met my family. But then when you came back to my family, I obviously had so much trust. When I met you
How
outside
did you
of the villa.
feel? How was that situation for you? Because I guess for like when you came back to my family in the UK, we came off of a UK show. It was like a whirlwind, and then you came back, and then you probably had some time to sit and think.
When you brought me back when you brought me back to your family and brought me into your life, I just felt like so sure that you would love my family. Like when I met your family, I was just like, this is the same energy.
Yeah, so there's a funny story. So actually before Jessie came back to the farm, obviously we live on a farm. It's a farmhouse. It's dirty. It's mucky. And my mum and dad were like panicking loads because it's not an aesthetically clean house. We've got 4 dogs. We live on a farm. Like you walk in to the kitchen with wellies and different things like that. And they were like freaking out, being like, oh my God, like we have to get it cleaner. Like it's going to be too messy for Jessie. And then they were like, hell no. Look, if Jessie doesn't like this, then she doesn't like who we are.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so when I came back to your family, I was like, dude, these are my people.
Yeah.
And I just knew that I felt safe for you to come back to my home. And that never happens. Like I never bring people back to my family. And then I feel like once you came back, you just fit in so well.
Honored.
And I've never felt like you've judged my family or judged my house.
I love your family. I actually think you have the sweetest family. I'm envious. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm envious that I didn't have a big family because I just feel like it's just so amazing. Like I actually love coming back home to Australia, like having the interaction with Stella, who's such a young girl and a kid who I've never had anyone that young in my life before. Like it was my first time.
Because you're the baby of your family.
I'm the baby of my family. And even like our cousins, like the youngest cousin is like 22. So I've never interacted with children or babies before. So it was like so lovely. And then like even like Oscar, like 16, and then Brock and you, who are probably a bit closer to my age, it's a really, really lovely dynamic. I think it's really nice. And then coming over and playing cricket and having like family time, the whole of the family.
But I feel like as well, even like Stella, my whole family, they see it as like Will and Jessie now. Like we're just all a part of the family. And I think it's the best because as well.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I'm the older sister, but they've not had, Oscar's the only one and Stella with an older brother. Like you don't have an older brother. Brock doesn't have an older brother. I think it's really nice. Our family absolutely loves having you around.
Thank you.
I think Will's actually the favourite kid, other than Stella. We're moving on to Who Knows Jessie best? So obviously you guys are the 2 contestants and I'm going to ask you the question.
Are we going to have like buzzers
Okay.
at the ready?
So choose your buzzers.
That's just your buzzer. You're just going to slap your leg. You don't want to make a noise?
Not really.
Okay, I'll go. Meh.
Who knows Jessie best? First question. What was my first car?
A blue convertible.
Me, it's a Holden Astra.
Yeah, obviously.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Y'all are both wrong.
Jessie, it's a blue Astra.
Oh, you don't remember the red car?
That was not your first car. That was a family runaround car.
Richard, that was my first car.
No, Jessie, but you didn't buy that. That was the family runaround
yeah, they
car.
bought it for me to teach me.
No. That was a hand-me-down.
No,
No, Jessie, blue.
The Corolla, everyone knows.
No.
And also, this is a little bit unfair. I don't know the Aussie cars.
She learnt to drive in that car. That car was the runaround car. That was not your car.
Whose car was it then?
That was just like the runaround car. Everybody knows it.
Okay, everybody, Rachel and Will were both wrong. I agree
Jessie
to
doesn't
disagree
even
on
know
that.
herself.
What food does Jessie hate? Oh, wow, guys. I've got a good crowd here today then. My boyfriend and my own blood.
Man, human.
It's not
Okay,
food.
okay, hold on. Give us a hint.
C. It starts with C. You're still not even going to get it.
Wait, like, are you talking about the sea? Like, it lives
Letter
in the
C.
sea?
It starts with C.
Sea. Like, is it a vegetable?
Y'all are dropped.
Is it a vegetable?
Yeah.
I was going to say cucumber, but that's a fruit, surely, because it has seeds.
Oh, my goodness. Guys, it's celery.
Jessie, no. When did you start to not... Jessie, I've seen you scoff celery now.
I'm sorry as well. We've never had celery.
Scoff peanut butter and celery sticks down.
Guys, only because I wanted the celery.
We've never
peanut butter.
never had celery in the house for the 2 years, so I could never know that.
I don't think you've really thought about
Exactly,
those
because I don't
questions.
like it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to know that?
I pick it out of a salad if it's in there.
I've never put that. I just want to clarify that I do all the cooking at home, so everything that I cook for Jessie, she absolutely loves. I don't want to blow my own trumpet and say I'm an amazing cook, but...
No, you blow away.
Okay, if you guys don't get this one right, I'm actually concerned. What is my star sign?
September.
Okay, me, Virgo.
Meh.
Sagittarius? It is
Sapphire.
September.
Sapphire.
It's not a Leo. That's Dad.
Sacradini.
Okay, lock in your
Yes,
final
the
answer.
Sagittarius one. Sagittarius.
Sacradini.
Fuck this, I'm just saying words right
Virgo.
now. Meh.
What?
Jessie, give me
September the 28th.
That's her birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Not her star sign.
So you're saying Virgo?
I don't know. The only two things that I know about star signs is that I'm a Cancer.
I'm
and
an
then the boys
Aries.
in the family are Leos. Boom.
So what's your sister?
A September.
Yeah, you're a Virgo.
Hey Siri.
Virgin or something.
What is September
virgin.
star sign?
Well, I don't know, because Haley's was on the 1st of September, so you and her had different ones.
I'm a
Virgo.
Libra, bitches.
Libra.
Yeah, you said a
Sagittarius
Libra.
are virgin.
Is it Virgo? I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Okay, so Rachel's obviously been living in the UK for, I'd like to say more than a week, but it's only been
Yeah, I
a week.
love that you guys say living. I suppose I am living. Like, we're living every single moment, so you're not wrong. But I'm more visiting. But I like the word living.
Yeah, just living with
Rachel's
it.
been
You know what I
living
mean?
with us. I want to get your thoughts, like how are you finding the
Oh,
UK?
yeah.
So Rachel's been in, just to give you a
Yeah,
bit of
great.
backstory, she's been in Japan for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
then got here, had a couple of days. Jessie and Rachel went to Italy, travelled Italy for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So you've only had a small handful of days here,
Yes.
but how are you finding it?
Yeah, so I love the UK. It's absolutely amazing. Like, I love the lifestyle in Australia. Like, there's lots of hiking, there's lots of swimming, there's very much like a community sense from where I'm from. I love the work that I do. I love my friends and I love my family. So I just love everything down there. Also, I really love coffee. So like a ice
She loves a lot
latte.
of things.
And
An
it's
ice
not,
latte
yeah.
and a walk on the beach in the morning and chatting to a friend of mine. Oh my gosh, that is my happy place. That is where my heart is singing. That's where I belong. Anyway, so I love all that kind of stuff.
I think the question was,
Yeah, so I love that. So I love the lifestyle is what I'm saying. I love
Yeah.
the lifestyle in Australia. So then to go to Japan and be like immersed in this different culture, it's like holy moly, everything's so organized, everyone's so quiet. That doesn't feel very me. Then to go to Italy being like holy moly, everyone's so loud and it's so disorganized. And then to come to the UK has been really, really beautiful. Particularly when you're traveling to like have a home base, like the farm, where it's peaceful. I wake up in the morning and there's birds. And then like I go into your dad's farmhouse and your dad's having a bit of a chat to me. I'm like, this is great. I feel right at home.
yeah.
So my experience of the UK so far, amazing, beautiful. The culture, we were watching like a little performance. The food here has been really amazing. The coffee, questionable, but that's okay. We've started making it from home.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it. And I think the thing that I love the most as well is just like the culture and the heritage and the history here. In Australia, of course, we have history and there's culture and there's heritage, but over here, just the built infrastructure that really tells a story. Absolutely love that. And I feel like I shouldn't say everyone, but like so many people walking around the UK, they have this knowledge just like ingrained in them because they've grown up around it. Whereas in Australia, like you learn about it, but unless you've seen it, it doesn't quite click. So that's probably the one thing that I love about the UK. I'd happily like move over here if you guys tidy up that spare room.
Yeah.
Also, just to preface, this is the sister with the degree, just in case it wasn't very obvious.
Well, really? I thought, did Stella not have a degree?
Yeah.
What do you mean the sister
She's
with...
got a degree in life and happiness.
Yeah. What is it?
Just so bright.
She is a genius.
She can do her 7 times tables at the age of 4.
Six.
No, she can do 7 as well.
7.
She can do 6, 7, and 10.
Yeah.
And 2.
Moving on up.
So
Nothing can stop her.
What's one of the biggest difference that you've noticed since being here? Like, is there any like cultural shocks that you've had or been like, whoa, I didn't know you did that?
Because we've been staying out in the country a little bit more, didn't really have a very good idea of like the villages and the counties, you call them. I think that's been a bit of a shock to the system. And then also I heard about it like before I came here, but flying into London, like the cities are around, right? I'm like, that's so bizarre. Whereas like if you fly over anywhere in Australia, it's very grid-like.
Yeah.
You know, so I suppose that was a bit of a shock. I did know about it, but actually seeing it is different. Yeah. I suppose that's like the biggest shock. The villages are very, very interesting.
They're cute.
Yeah.
It's
like really
life
far
to the
out.
country
It's
or
really
whatever it's
far
called.
out, yeah.
Is there any strange things you've noticed since coming over here?
Not
Like,
really. Everything's really green.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know all these things anyways. Like your trees are different to our trees.
Oh, well, funny you say that. We're going to actually test you on some English slang.
Okay, let's go.
We're going to test you on some English slang, see if you've picked up anything, see if you know it, and if you don't, just take a stab in the dark and guess. So the first
Can I
one...
tell them the thing that happened at the gym?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
Go. Okay, so first of all, I used to be a gym instructor, so I'm like, oh, mate, like you're going so well. Look at that pace. That's so good. Keep it up. I've done a little bit of that. But anyways, we went to the gym the other day, first gym session in forever, and I felt like a slug. No, just kidding. I didn't feel that bad. But
It was
I
really
just
hot,
holy
though.
moly, it was really hot. It was really hard, like to work out after not working out for so long. Anyways, I was like on the ski machine. So it's like an erg machine for anyone who doesn't know. It's a ski machine. You pull them down, blah, blah, blah. I was on the ski machine. Let's just cut it off at that. Anyways, so the fitness instructor, he comes over to me and like, he's like, oh, like your ski is bust. And I was like skiing and I was like, I think like he means like fast. Like, yeah, it's so fast.
Okay,
And
we
then
don't know that he said buzz.
I'm,
We
like,
still
really
don't know
like,
the
I'm
word.
I'm like, what? I got him to like repeat it to me. I was like, what? Like, what did you just say to me? He's like, oh, like your ski is bust.
Or did he say boss?
Boss, I don't know, but
I don't know if you could tell.
Well,
'cause of his
Rachel came out
accent.
and said, that dude said my skiing was buzzing.
I was like, I was busting. I was like, oh, thanks. But like, as a fitness instructor, I would never say that. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like that was amazing what you did today. But I was like, maybe like people in the UK just go up and compliment people and
Call
say-
them a bus.
and people like busting. Like, I just thought that was really interesting.
I don't know if he
But
said
kudos to
boss
him.
or bus.
I think you would have said boss. But
boss or bus.
boss.
He
Like
said bus.
you're doing
That's
it like
bus.
a boss.
I was like,
Like
you calling me a
boss.
bus?
Yeah, like a boss.
Oh,
yeah.
see, that's really interesting. Like, I would never go up to someone and be like, you're a boss. So I was like, oh, maybe that's just something they do in the UK. I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're so lovely, you're so kind, you're so nice.
You're
Maybe
a
you got to
bus.
start going up to people and be like, you are a boss.
Please do not say
Should
that.
I start doing
no,
that? Just
don't
go
call
up to
people a bus, babe.
No, I'll test it. I'll test it in the UK. I won't do it in Australia.
Yeah.
No.
But I'll test it over
Yeah,
here.
just go be like, you are
boss.
a boss.
Guys, I don't approve of
Okay.
this.
That your outfit is boss.
Yeah.
Boss, not bus. Or bussin'.
It's a bussin' or boss. I don't know.
No,
what
but
it's-
Boss.
I just wouldn't call people a bus.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to put this in a sentence and you have to guess it. So the word is peak.
Peak.
Do you want me to use it in a sentence or do you just want to have to go?
My head goes to the mountain.
No, but I'll
Peak of the mountain.
in a sentence, I'll be
Okay.
like, oh, nah, man, that's peak.
Well, the way that you're using it, so if that was peak, I'm like, that is peak performance.
Yeah.
That's the way that I would see it. But the way that you're using, no, man, like that's peak. You're like too cool for that. That's bad.
Yeah, that's good.
I
It
find
is.
this really weird
Just the way
because
that you worded
peak
it.
to me is the peak.
Yes, yeah.
The
Yeah.
best at the top.
You are at the
that is peak, bruv.
pinnacle.
But it-
You are
it-
peak, bruv. You're not a good guy.
peak.
I don't get that.
If someone was like,
that-
oh,
that-
you're
no, no,
peak,
no,
I'd be
no,
like, yeah.
That should be ditch. Like, no, that's too ditch.
We're making up our own slang here, guys.
That's ditch.
In a metaphorical sense, though. Like
Peak is the top and the best.
I agree. You
Quid.
guys are backwards back here.
Quid.
Quid.
Yeah.
That's like money.
Do you know how much?
Yeah, it's £1.
Say it.
£1, mate.
It's
50
£1,
quid, mate.
mate. Okay, that's good.
That's our equivalent to bucks, like
yeah,
$50.
Yeah, £1.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's $50.
No, it's one. It would
No,
be
we
what,
would just say $50.
So
Because it's
£1.
pounds.
But we would
it's
go like 50 quid.
£1, but they say quid.
50 quid, £1, £2
So
quid.
we say dollar.
So do
and
we
then
know
say
the
bucks.
history of what? So you can interchangeably use quid and pound.
Yeah, that's the same as bucks and dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bear.
Like your bare bum.
Like bear, like, man, I'm gonna go to the pub and have bear drinks.
Bear drinks, man, they're gonna be raw.
What do you mean they're gonna be raw?
A raw beer, man.
I'm gonna have bear drinks when I get to the pub.
Oh, like lots. Like so many. They're really big.
But once again, this confuses me because peak means top, but then in your slang it means low. Bear means like bear, you're naked. There's none.
Or like bare minimum. That's
bare
the
minimum.
bare minimum.
Bear means small.
So you're saying bear drinks.
Bear
means
drinks.
lots
Oh, that
over
makes
here.
sense. No, that makes sense. I get what you're saying.
Bear means lots.
Oh, so you're gonna that is weird.
Yeah.
What? Bear is like, the bare minimum, mate. I'm gonna do bear today.
Yeah,
like
but that means
bear.
that you're gonna
I'm
do
barely
lots
even
today.
here.
Yeah, if
But
you
bear
just
means
go,
lots.
if you
You
go, I'm
guys
gonna
have got that
bear.
wrong. Like metaphorically, you need to go look at nature and realize that that's not how it works.
No, I know. Okay, next one's skint.
Okay,
I'm skint, mate.
you're bloody great.
I'm skint, mate.
Mate is so hot. Is that what it is?
No.
Skin.
Yeah.
Can you say it in another sentence? So you have a conversation, you say it.
I'm skint. Jesse might be like, oh, Will, do you want to go to the shops? And I'll be like, oh, no, man, I'm skint.
Oh, nah, man. Not skin. Man, I'm just out of it today. I can't do it anymore.
No.
I mean, sometimes we all feel like that when we're
Like skin is like, man, like I'm skin. I got nothing left in the tank.
No. It means you have no money. I've got nothing. I can't.
We've got nothing left in the wallet.
I've got nothing. I've got nothing left. Yeah, skin is I've got
I
nothing
was
left.
getting the vibe. All right.
Okay, so what do English people call a vacuum cleaner?
Oh, I feel like I do know this one. Give me
The Grinch.
what?
The Grinch. Hoovetown.
Oh, Hoover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
I can't believe you guys call a vacuum cleaner a
A
Hoover.
Hoover.
I know. I have learned that lesson before.
And what do we call a doona cover?
Oh, you call them a duvet. They call them that over in New Zealand as well. Duvet.
Or a
yeah.
quilt.
Okay.
Or a quilt.
Duvet just isn't like
Duvet.
for
It's
like
the whole Tajik thing.
you can't have duvet and skint in the same language. Do you know what I mean?
But they're all of the questions, all of the things that we're going to test Rachel on. But I think Rachel's actually done a bit of homework herself and have organised me and Jessie some questions. Or maybe some observations of what she's noticed since being around the house.
Alrighty, so living with Jessie and Will for the past week or so. And then obviously when they come over to Australia, I feel like we're all down at the family house and we're all living together anyways. I've been really excited to kind of like see what the house dynamic is with you two. And I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to answer it truthfully. Who do you think does the most around the house? And FYI, I have my own opinion, my own observations, and my own conclusions on this answer. So I'm going to like pull you guys back into line and like give you the
Okay,
truth.
so what I'm just gonna say is Will does not clean the sink and he doesn't do the dishwasher. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
What do you think then?
I would say we both have our roles to play.
Also, I do want to say Will has been putting on an act.
I'd
since
say me.
Someone's
I think-
been here.
I did wonder this. I was like, is Will just pretending to be the perfect boy when I'm around?
No, I actually do a lot of it.
Fool the family.
Since Rachel has been here, Will has done almost everything. He's been actually exceptional.
Yeah,
It's
but
almost
I
like
have
too good to be true.
I have asked Jessie for help on
I'm
multiple
questionable of
occasions.
him. I'm like, I'm waiting for you to crack.
I'm never going to crack. So I do the cooking every night. I do the cleaning most nights. I love a Hoover.
But this is
I
all
do the
since Rachel
ironing.
arrived.
And before we went over to Italy, do you have anything that needs to be ironed?
Yeah, but I got a brand new iron, so I was like super excited.
Yeah, you were.
All
Who
right.
do you think, Jessie?
Yeah, who do you think does the most around the house? I think like administration, let's leave that out. Administration, bills, blah, 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 grocery shopping, let's leave that out. Let's stick to the raw facts of like who cleans the most around the house.
At the moment, it is Will.
What
Yep.
do you think you've ever done?
I love how it just says at the moment.
Excuse me. You've had some really messy periods.
Yeah, I know.
all the
I've
time.
had messy periods,
Yeah.
but when you have messy periods, I pick up the slack for both of us. When I have messy periods, you don't pick up the slack for me.
I clean up me, but I leave Will's mess there.
Yeah,
Because I have to
exactly.
teach you a lesson.
There's a
And you've
difference.
obviously learnt it now, so I'm really proud.
We'll
Thanks,
work
Mum.
this one out in the car trip home.
This actually causes a lot of arguments in the house because I'll be like trying to do something. We'll be like, you need to help me. You need to come stand by me while I cook. And I'm like, I'm doing the podcast.
I don't say stand by me. I just find, especially when it's me and Jessie in the house, I would be very much appreciated if I'm cooking and being out in the kitchen all night, if she could just sit by me and do her own thing, but just keep me company,
Yeah,
not
but
locked
I
away in
wouldn't,
another
if I'm
room.
going to do the podcast, when we did not, when we
I
did
agree with that. I'm totally like that. When I go home and I start cooking, okay, I cook for my family as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Whenever I go home and like I start cooking in the kitchen for the family, I'm like, everyone get your ass in the kitchen and come talk to me.
Yeah, keep me
To be
company.
fair,
Yeah.
we are so busy in the day that my time to do the clips for social media, for the podcast and everything is when you're cooking dinner. That's literally the 1 minute of silence I get.
Yeah, but I'm not saying...
And we didn't used to have bar stools, so I would go sit in the other room, but it's not because I had a grudge against you.
Okay,
and
let's
if
take
I
it-
did try cook dinner for Will, he wouldn't like it because he's very fussy.
We're going
with
to take it
food.
back, so I'll tell the
But
audience
Will does
how
at
it
the
is.
moment do the most.
I'll tell the audience, yeah, like how it is. I'm glad that we've all come to a similar conclusion. So I'd say Jessie does do a lot of the admin, and this is obviously just at the moment. Like, you know, life circumstances changes. When they're in Australia, it's a little bit different, yada, yada, yada. But at the moment, I would say Will actually does so much cooking. He does so much cleaning. He's so on top of it. He's so organized and tidy, and like he loves ironing his clothes. Like I have never seen a man so happy.
Yeah,
He does really like ironing.
Like it's really beautiful. Like
He sends me Snapchats of himself ironing.
He puts on Spotify. He listens to wholesome country music, and he does the ironing. And I'm like, this is beautiful. And then Jessie does a lot of the admin. So Jessie is actually like, you know, she didn't go to university. She didn't pursue life in those.
I didn't point that out.
But she's trying her
No,
best.
but like what I'm trying to say is she's actually got like such a smart brain and she's on top of the admin and also really randomly she'll save a penny anywhere she can. It's honestly distressing to me.
Yeah,
around.
it is.
It's like just
I'm like, I can do it. I'll do it myself. No need to employ someone to do that.
exactly. So
I'm an accountant, a podcast producer.
So I would say like Will's definitely more like the physical side of things, whereas Jessie's is more like the brains behind things. In saying that brains, I think you're a genius, Will, by the way. I'm not
Rachel
sure.
always
Really?
says that to me.
I think you're a genius. Your
Yeah.
attitude and your drive towards life, I'm like, that's genius attitude.
She does say to me, she's
Yeah.
Judy.
Really? You've
Yeah, I
never
do
told
think you
me.
are. And Jessie does not vouch for you, by the way.
What did she...
She's like, really? Why? And I'm like, girl, like, have you seen him? He's so smart.
Will is the person that literally says what to me after I say everything. I'm like, I'm hungry. You go, what? I'm like, I'm hungry. You're like, for what? I'm like, well, I'm just hungry. And Rachel's there like, he's a genius.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to see what you would like to eat so I could feed you.
Yeah. No, I get what she's coming from with the genius angle.
Well, I see it, but I don't know. Anyways, what is your favorite farm animal at the moment is my next question and my most favorite.
Okay, let's play a game. You can't say the name of the farm animal. You have to act like them.
Okay.
Would be the...
The little goats? Oh, the lambs.
Yeah,
Lambs.
baby goats.
Baby goats.
Oh, the baby goats.
So we got some new baby goats literally yesterday, 5 more. They're not really like, they're not super friendly. So that's kind of like a mission that we're going to do, but they're adorable, super, super cute.
It's really sweet. So Will's dad kind of keeps an eye online. I don't know where he does it, but he always finds animals that are probably going to go to be if we don't rescue them.
They will go to the slaughterhouse, yes.
Yeah.
Sound like it's true.
So people just want to get rid of their animals, and we're like, we'll take them. But I guess not the risk, but the downside to that is they're not as friendly. But then it's always our job to kind of make them friendly, make them integrate with the other animals. But these little goats, pygmy goats, they're so fucking adorable. It actually blows my mind that people were going to let these little animals die. So we've got 5 new pygmy goats on the farm, which is really cute. And Rachel, we introduced Rachel to the farm animals, and you were very shocked to meet the rams.
Yeah, so when I met the rams, so once again, growing up in the country, I was exposed to like a lot of sheep and a lot of farm animals and whatnot. So I see sheep like all the time. Like literally when I walked down in the bus stop, there were 3 sheep in this field. And like, I'm pretty sure we ended up giving them names. We loved them. We would feed them. Sometimes I'd be eating toast on my way down to the school and I'd give it to the sheep. Like, love sheep, basically is what I'm trying to say. But I'd never seen a ram.
Yeah.
And then Jessie and Will were like, hey, do you want to come meet like the sheep? So I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to go meet the sheep, obviously. Like I'm in the UK, you're on a farm, I'm not just going to stay inside all day, I'll go meet the sheep. We go out to meet the sheep and then this bull, pig, ram starts like approaching me, and I'm like, what type of farm are you running? Because that thing looks like a
That thing was
mutation.
henge. He was actually henge.
Yeah, and it didn't help because I chucked some food out and he was like, like eating like that, like making these like.
I noticed it only had one horn in the middle of its head. It didn't even have two horns. It was one big horn.
What's happening out here?
Yeah. What's that business you running?
So that was a bit of a shock to the system.
As well,
And like,
they were
they started making really horrible noises. Like that didn't sound like a sheep.
what was that thing?
I was like, I felt really bad because you seemed really like proud of your animals as well.
He's like, this is our
And I
ram.
just,
I was like,
started being like, what is this? Like this
it looked
is
like a bulldog, but in
Jessie,
sheep
who
form.
are you freaking with right now?
And then Will goes, if you want to dispose of a body, chuck him in with the pigs.
I was just giving him the rundown of the farm, like just giving him some interesting fact about the animals.
I thought the
hear
ram was a
anything.
bit of an interesting creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are quite interesting. And then, yeah.
Yeah,
What were you going to say?
about them shagging to death.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Then Will proceeds to tell them how they have sex till they hump till they pass away.
Some do, not
And
in
do you
all
know what? When
cases.
I saw
definitely look
them,
like
They're
have, like,
gigantic bulls.
they are. They're like bull sheep.
No, they're testicles.
Oh, both.
Anyways.
They are gigantic.
So, yes. And what's
But
your
yeah.
favourite? Is yours the little baby ones as well?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, they are really cute, aren't
What
they?
are yours?
My favourite one is Margot,
Oh, Rachel loves Margot.
the dog.
So cute. Yeah, you really do love
Although
Margot.
the only thing that does ick me about Margot is she slobbers on my leg.
Yeah, she is very wet and
I'm like,
strawberry.
is that water or is that just like saliva?
Let's just say it was water to keep this.
I know.
Margot really likes you. When Margot was a puppy, she used to bite my ankles before she was trained, but she's very well trained.
Margot's
now.
definitely still young. I can tell that about her.
She's sweet. She's sweet.
Okay, so my next question is my last question as well,
Okay.
unless we think of anything along the way. I just wanted to ask you guys, because I'm not sure if anyone else has ever asked you this on the podcast. But what fills your cup? What makes you happiest in life?
Oh. Getting deep there.
What makes me happy in life? My family and loved ones.
Yeah, I would like to say see my family do well. Like, I actually don't give a fuck how I'm doing, but I'm like, oh, if y'all are doing well, I'm doing well.
Yeah, I'd say family and loved ones, like wherever we are in the world, like coming back, if it's either in England or in Australia, it just makes you whole.
And I think as well,
I agree with that. You guys are wholesome.
yeah, I love to see my family doing well. I think you guys are obviously always the top of my
Yeah, I think it's so
priorities.
amazing that I've been brought into the family as well, and I can like see Stella and Oscar grow up. Like I met Oscar when he was like 16.
14.
Was it 14?
What?
2 years
No.
ago.
Ah, yeah,
16
sorry.
now.
Oh yeah.
15.
No, I met him when I was 14.
He's 14.
Yeah. And then like with Stella, when she was so young, I think it's a bit different for you and Brock because you're already like grown up. but,
Yeah, yeah.
but for those two, it's really nice seeing.
Yeah, I feel like as well, no matter what happens in life, we've always got our beautiful families on both sides to go home to. And I feel like, you know, anything could happen in our world and our family have always got our back. We've always got a safe place to go to, like a family barbecue, playing cricket, swimming at the river, being on the farm, feeding the demon rams. We're always sorted when we've got our family.
And that is just such a beautiful way to end the podcast today. Thank you so much for listening or watching or wherever you get the podcast from.
And while you're here, please remember to click that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow as well. Would very much
Yes.
appreciate it.
And that's all for today. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us. We really appreciate you. We had to drag her along here. She's on vacation.
Yeah,
I'm bringing
I
her
had
to a
so many
podcast.
Bye, you
giggles.
guys.
I had
Yeah,
so
it was
many
really fun.
giggles.
And now we're going to go to a pub in London and watch a sunset and have a beverage day.
And listen to some live music.
Yes. But that is all from us today. Thank you so much for listening. Love ya.
Bye.